So last week we spoke on the Mechitza and the Shul. It's the same thing. Yeah. So last week we spoke on the Mechitza and the Shul. So I'll talk about Mechitza in other places. Chasanos, by Avelos, by Sheva Brachos, by Shiurim. So we'll repeat it. So we'll go over the Gemara again. Everyone was talking here last week. We want to bring out a different path from the Gemara. In the Gemara, you see there's a difference between a levaya and the Simchas Beis Hashev and Beis Hamikdash. In the Simchas Beis Hashev and the Beis Hamikdash, the Gemara says that they made a separate balcony for the ladies. So in Pashtus they had a Mechitza over there, like the way most of the Pesach can learn. Not like Rav Moshe. They actually had a Mechitza. They couldn't see each other. So you see, by Simchas Beis Hashev, they made a balcony with a Mechitza. But the makar for this din of having a Mechitza, we learn now from the Hesped. We learn now from in the second paragraph, in the second Ramakim. We learn now, for what? The makar for the Mechitza and the Beis Hamikdash, by Simchas Beis Hashev, is from Pasuk, which is talking about a Hesped by Levaya. Yeah. In the second paragraph it says Kra Ashkechu v'Darush. We learned out the Chiyuv. We read through it. I'm jumping it. We say Kra Ashkechu v'Darush. We dash him from Pasuk. It says V'Safta Aris Mishbachis Levan. At the Hesped, the Gemara says is either from Sheikh Ben Yisrael or for the Yisrael. Is where everyone, all the separate mishpachas by themselves. Mishpachas Beis David Levan, Shehem Levan. In the Amru, we learn now from Hizad Beis Hamikdash. V'Halei Dvarim Kal V'Cheimer. If by this hesped when there is no Yisahara, either because Yisahara was killed or because it's a sad time, and still you have to make a Mechitza. So Achshav Shasukim Simcha now Simchas Beis Hashev, where everyone's in a happy mood and the Yisahara and the Yisahara Sheil Behem Alachas Kama Kama, how much more so? So if you notice in the pasuk, it just says that by the hesped all the different families are by themselves. It didn't say that they built a Mechitza. It just says that all the families were separate.
They said separate, but there's lavdafka with a mechitza between them.
Yeah, it doesn't say there was a mechitza.
But that's because it's mishpacha. There's a difference.
Right, but separate mishpachas.
No, but
mishpachas
separate mishpachas.
Even from their wives and their
yeah. Beis David Levan.
And Shane Levan. Yeah. And but by the mid-base space, but we're learning from here from
Beis David. By Beis David.
Why are we pointing out Beis David? The Mashiach, the Hesped is for Beis Yosef, for Mashiach Ben Yosef. Why are we pointing out Beis? Why are we pointing out Beis David? I don't know. So how do we learn out from here? They need a Mechitza by Simchas Beis Hashev. So some first explain that's the kavod, that's the kol shekain. Tak over there by the hesped, the yisars and sheilos. So that's why we're makel. It's just enough to be separate. You don't have to have mechitzas. By levaya, by the levaya, you don't have mechitzas, but still you need to be separate. But we learn. But if even over there you don't need to have mechitzas, even over there when the yisar is not sheilos, you need to be separate. When the simchas beis hashev or the yisar is tak kol shekain, only need to be separate. You also need to have mechitzas.
About oil.
It's not a hesped.
Mir wird schon eine lange Zeit zu machen dort Neppes. Mir wird schon eine lange Zeit machen dort Neppes. Ich will machen, der Lady soll sein am zweiten Floor.
Ja.
Will ein Steps, soll sein am second floor. Mir wird schon der in dem Jahr.
Yeah, well, Cheda, there isn't. I don't think you have the. You have the Ini Sahar Sheilat over there. Mitzad, the Indian about the Levaya and this is, and there's another.
This is a sakon again, right? Zusammen mit Menschen Moments, schon in der Zoya.
Is the Gemara in Sanhedrin? It says how to say there. How do you go by the Levaya? How do you go? So it says the Nashim are in front of the mace and the men behind are behind the mace. So the Rishon Mas, what about his taklos? There's no Mechitza, what's going on? So you say because it's a Shas Sar and the Yitzhahara is not Sheilat then so much, so it's enough just to be separate. So you already see there's two different chiluk. There's two different things. There's Shas Simcha and then there's a Shas of Sar, where you don't need it's enough just to be separate. So what would a chasana be? So a chasana be just like the Simchas Beis HaShiva. It's a Shas Simcha Beis HaShiva. Chasnas you need to have a Mechitza by a chasana. Soon we'll see what Moshe. Moshe says differently, but Pashtus that's how most of the placing learn. And fine. So now the Gemara in Kiddushin, it talks about another two things. So there we learn out about shiurim and also about a chuppah. If you need to have a mechitza there. The Gemara says, Abaye dayer gulfi. The second one I'm making. Abaye dayer gulfi. Abaye he made a mechitza of by. Let's see Rashi. Rashi says, Gulfi makim kvutzis anashim nashim. The men and women will gather together. Either to hear shir, either chuppah. And what would Abaye do? What would Abaye do? Hayamsada kankanim shel cheres harbe b'neim. Put a bunch of barrels of cheres in between. She'im yavayu zeh itzel zeh yikashkashu v'yishmu kol. So there were some issues. People were mingling too much. So he put these things in between, so people try to cross over. It will make noise, and people will see them. So. So they'll keep them separate.
An electronic system that says, warning.
And so Rava did the same thing. Rava Da'ir Kana, he put the poles in between. So it would also do this, it would also make noise, so that would also help to keep people apart. So Omar Ovin said, same line, Omar Ovin, Sakva de Shasa Riglo. Says the worst time of the year is the Yom Tov. Yom Tov is everyone's mixed together. Rashi says Sakva de Shata Riglo. Ri'ua shali misa shano liyachidu la'avira. For yichud and for aviras. The worst time is Yemei Regel. Sheyesh kvutzas hanashim nashim lishmei adrasha. They come to hear the shir. V'neisim zeim. They shmooze with each other. So Abai and Rav are trying to help take care of the issues. And so over here you see. So also you see over here they attack us. So you see over here that by shir and by chup attack they also need to be separate, the men and the women. But over here there wasn't a proper mechitza over here. He just put something to separate that people shouldn't cross over. But it wasn't a mechitza that they weren't able to see each other.
Right, it wasn't. It was kanim shachares so that you couldn't mingle.
So maybe it was here.
Yeah, what it is doesn't just have to be something that's separated. It didn't have a certain height.
It's a visual obstruction.
So Shariah looks at.
No, it's to separate.
So it looks like from here that by chuppah and shiurim you don't need to have a proper mechitza. However, the Mordechai brings over here that the minhag was that they thought that by shiurim they did put proper mechitza so they shouldn't see each other. And in Shulchan Shabbos, Alter Rebbe also brings up Derech Agav Legabe making mechitzas on Shabbos. So Alter Rebbe also discusses could he put up a mechitza on Shabbos to separate between the men and ladies for the mechitza. So either some medina,
or you mean or is it a gather opinion?
But you see that the minhag was that they would put up mechitzas for when they even by shiurim. So the Mordechai from the Rishonim. And so there are some minus from the Rebbe. There's one minus someone asked about. There was a place they wanted to have shiurim, and they had a men's shir. And the question, there were ladies who wanted to come to shir. So the question was, could they join the men's shir? Or do they have to make a new shir? So the Rebbe said, only in this case, since it was a big tzorech, the Rebbe they can have the ladies go come to the shir, but only with two conditions: that the shir is going to be things which are relevant for the ladies also, and also that they have to be separated. They can't be sitting, can't be mixed. It should be things that are relevant to the nashim also.
Negate to the vibrate.
But they're saying it's the Yitzim Klal, but that Klal has to be mechitzas. On the other hand, there's another letter. There's another, someone asked in Eretz Yisrael. They started a shir. They started a shir with mechitzas, and they made for proper mechitzas. But in the end, they regretted it. I guess people weren't so happy with it, so they wanted to stop to take down the mechitzas. So the Rebbe said no. The Rebbe told them to leave the mechitzas. So whatever. So Medina Ikar Din looks like you don't need. It seems like for sure you don't need a proper mechitza, but the minhag is to have it. So you should ask her before arranging such a share without a mechitza, if it's not necessary. On Shaila, what about a chuppah? So chuppah. So how come my chuppah you don't need a mechitza? Also, for l'chayru we said before the makim simcha. By makim simcha you can't need mechitzas. Like by simcha taste reivan, l'chayru by a chasana. Why should a chuppah be any different? So there's different places in Ksav Sefer. They're mechalik that the chuppah is not such a big simcha as by the chasana. You don't. It's for a short period of time. It's not so long. The simcha isn't so big. You're not eating food over there. You know, there's no dancing. So the simcha by the chuppah isn't such a big simcha as you have by the actual chasana.
More of a serious thing. You can say it's more of a serious thing, the chuppah itself.
I guess so. I'm saying it's also.
People know what they're getting into.
So there's that's by the chuppah. So fine. So by the chasana, most places we said that you need to have a mechitza, but a Moshe learns that you don't need to have a mechitza. Moshe is in the third Maramakim. He wants to say that when do you learn out from the Gemara and Sukkah that you need a mechitza? Stafke in a case where people are gathered together or they're mechuyev to be gathered together. Like by Simchas Sheva, the Nashim and the men were mechuyev to be there, because they had the mitzvah Simcha Yom Tov, they needed to be there. But if they're coming, but it's only Rishus and they're not obligated to come there, then you want to say there's no chiv to have a mechitza. This is he writes in the third Maramakim. So the person was asking, maybe only in a shul you need a mechitza because it has a din of a yira. So the person was asking, maybe in a shul you don't need a mechitza because yiras hamakim because derech eretz for the shul people will stay separate anyways. So he says no. He says anta abah hamakim ksas leimar da isur shalayu muravin hu b'mikdash misad chiv hayira. Anta abah farkeret you can say dafke misad the yira in the base of mikdash. That's why you need to have a mechitza and so to in a shul. But then he changes. He says, "From the hesped also lovely." But on the other hand, from the hesped shall made misham, which we learn there the din of mechitza, the who iser makim shem skapsim sham is a chi of these skampets. We learn from there that it's not so. It's not a makim. It's not mishamira. Rather, why do you need to have the din of mechitza? So he says it's because since there's a chiyuv to gather in a certain place, that's why you need to have the mechitza. But if a late say the chiyuv kibbutz af mikdash mutter. But if there wasn't a chiyuv to gather over there, even in the base of mikdash it would be okay for ladies to be there without a mechitza. And he brings raya kahad the chanosh his spala b'mikdash eitz leili. See, Chana was happening in the base of mikdash, and Eli was also there in the same place. But there's no problem. You don't need to have mechitzas. So I'll say dafka when there's a chiv to gather in a certain place. And he goes on weiter. But makim kibbutz l'divrei harishus. If it's only a rishus that you're there for, va'af and even bechasanos mesubkani im yesh iser zeh ba'ifin shalika chashash yichud. He's mesubak whether there's iser, there's then I need to have mechitzas in a way that you don't have if there's no iser yichud. V'yeshanayta shalika le'iser. The har ashkechan v'chilas ha-pesach. So you find by eating the pesach and beis hamikdash hayu eichlin ha-nashim b'beis echad. The men and the woman they will both eat the pesach pekar v'pesach and it was in one bais. V'hayu sham kama mishpachish. Shein lecha there were many families together. Shein lecha kol pesach shein nimnu alav yisem yasada, which didn't have at least more than 10 people. Kidisa pesach and dav samach dalet. With medrash Rabbah over there it says ika isa tani. Rav Chanina maybe and afilu mem even 40 if afilu nun and even 50 people on one carbon pesach. So it's a lot.
Not much of an appetite.
Yeah, but 50 people in mishpacha, l'chayr is few mishpachas with mashas.
Paar mishpachas zusammen, einmal wie da, wie dort,
Barka para Amar afilu kuf. He said even a year, sometimes you can have 100 person on one and one pain. L'chayr is a few mishpachas. The pashas wasn't just one mishpacha. And they have to say they're all together without a mechitza because they can't be eaten with two separate chaburis.
Aber Rechem kann ich lernen von dort, weil das Klo Pesach muss gegessen dich. So.
Deswegen ist gewesen was.
Nicht gesetzt und viel Show mit Music, enjoying with champagne. Und gegessen ist gegangen.
aber
Efter die Mechitza, wenn am Mechitza hält sich kein Mechitza. Und Moschum, am Mechitza ist das Noschen. Und hält es die Freude darum mit dem Mechitza nicht. Jede Mechitza, was noch am Mechitza, nicht vermachen davon. Das ist einfach noch, zu noch am Mechitza zu Männern und Frauen hält sich kein bisschen Mechitza,
So person want to say they want to fight in for information. They can't bring a raya.
Wenn am Mechitza hat nicht mit dem Mechitza,
Person talk want to say like that. They're not very fond that you can have a mechitza, you can have a mechitza in between, but it's not considered two different chabudas. So they do fight for there. So most places are chaylik on relation with this. In the fourth Maramakim, there's another chip from Leisha, but he explains it different. He's masked by the chiluk a little differently. He says, which is over here, we just read. Only something which is public to everybody. You only invite only people who are invited come. It's not an open invitation to everyone. Therefore, you want to say there's no chiyav mechitza over there. So it sounds like he's changing a little bit from his Hagdara earlier.
He's not talking the Chassidus from today, with 700 people are coming. Doesn't mean he given the Chassidus after the Holocaust. He given 27 people from their side and 10 people from their side. Together 35 people. It's a double party. When coming around 700 Menschen, it's not a double party in the Chassidus from today.
Right. Okay. So this is a Ramesha Shita. So
It was not having Mechitza back.
Yeah, people are told the
you don't even have saying it's obvious it's better it's good to have it. You're saying you didn't make her didn't, you don't even have Mechitza. They say some of his kids chasana, they talk to them Mechitza.
Proti means private, but proti, the meaning of private.
You have context.
So one of the Makodes, so that people at least can bring that the attack is the Isser, that is taking Medina, that you have to have Mechitza by Chasana, besides for the Gemara by Simchas Beis HaSheva, which a Pashtus is the same thing as the Chasana, right? Because it's a lot of people have tainus on Moshe. Moshe came up with this new Hagdara, they have to even Chuyav to be there. But it's strange. What's the whole reason for Mechitza? Because there's Chayk and Kalas Reish. By Chasana, there's plenty of Chayk and Kalas Reish, just like by Simchas Beis HaSheva. What's the svara to be Mechalik? Pashtus, you have all the same chashashis. But besides for that, they bring a raya from the Sefer Hasidim. Sefer Hasidim says that in a place, if by during the Sheva brachos, if the man and the woman could see each other, they're in the same room, so you can't make the brachos shasimcha b'ma'ini, because there's hira avira. The Lavush brings it down in Eir Chaim, in Hebrew, he says, Amru b'Sefer Hasidim, Kol Mokim sha'anoshim v'noshim rein zeh, they see each other, k'goyim v'sudas nisun, ein levarach shasimcha b'ma'ini. Why? The fisha ain't simcha l'kinei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because the Eibusha, the Taka isn't a simcha. Kishiyesh by Hirhuri Avira Ankan. The Surah Avira, the Taka isn't a simcha. So most of the places can say that it's Taka, you see from here, there's Hirhuri Avira, it's Taka Medina. And the Bach and the Beis Shmuel, they all bring this down. They all bring this down that you shouldn't make the brachas hasha simcha b'ma'inei. The Shach also brings it down.
What?
The Shach, the Beis Shmuel, all the Grace of Pesachim, the Neisei Kelim Shulchan Aruch, they bring down the din of the Sefer Chasidim. You shouldn't make the bracha hasha simcha b'ma'inei if it's going to be mixed. Sefer is from Rabbi Yehuda Chassid.
Das Buch Hashem, das Menschen sie fühlen sich sehr. Sie fühlen sich sehr, aber viele Hashem Buch es ist ein Doppel BMS Broti. Es ist nur das Stub und es ist nur 20, 30 Menschen. Und noch ein Mechitza.
So some people want to taina that the Bach brings us down. He explains why in Krakow, and he says in Krakow the minute was the second day of Sheva brachas. They wouldn't say the bracha simcha b'inei. So he explained because the second day there weren't so many people, it was only relatives. It was mostly relatives. Therefore they had it in one room, and there wasn't mechitza. So that's why they didn't make the bracha simcha b'inei.
Not because
by benching.
The simcha is the Eibeshter. Because
no, that's why, and you don't make simcha b'ma'ina because of the Sefer Hasidim. He's just explaining why. But there's some tshuvas. There's tshuvas b'nei banim from what's the name? He's modern Orthodox Rav, Yisrael, and Henkin. He wants to say that if you look at the Bach and they didn't say that there's an issue that people are having the chasna, there's no mechitza. They just said that if there is no mechitza, you shouldn't make the bracha shasimcha b'oinei. The Bach, everyone who brings down the din of Sefer Chassidus, no one said that there's any issue with the fact that there wasn't any mechitza.
Right, okay.
So you want to try to be medayik that say that maybe it just means you shouldn't say make the bracha shasimcha b'oinei, but it doesn't mean that there's an issur of not having mechitza. In L'chayri, you would have to say that's how Moshe learns, right? What's Moshe going to say? Moshe says you don't even have mechitza, but what's happening? So the Rebbe in a letter, the Rebbe shayl this. The Rebbe says he can't say this. It's in Shulchan Menachem, and the Rebbe says so. He says they quote what you said, what you wrote to the Rebbe. The Rebbe is quoting what this person wanted to say to him. Masher Umalei Bahana was said to him, Bahanigela, Irav Anoshim and Noshim Sudas Chasno, Shapi Alocha Inu Negea Ella Beshlilas Amir Shasimcha B'Mainei. All that is relative is the fact that you can't say Shasimcha B'Mainei, Vesulei, Vesulei Midi, Vahamakpidim Al Etzem Inyan Hurak Han Haga, and people are makpid have mechitz only Han Haga Al Pi Chasidas She'ein L'Keifa Akol Echad Va'achas. So you don't have to force people to do it. So the Rebbe says no. It's self-understood how strange this is. How could he say such a thing? So before the reason why you shouldn't say Simcha b'Ma'ineh be'irav hanal, because the Eibusher doesn't have a Simcha. Kishayitzer harashaylat. When he's a harashaylat and his hirar avira, there's no Simcha by the Eibusher. Are you going to say that shlitas yitzahara mutter chas shel mishu hum yisrael? You're going to tell me that there's no issue that's the fact that these are shaylat on someone, and there's no problem with that? Ain't lahanich v'davar ha'pashat. It's very strange to say that when there's hirar avera that you can't make us simcha b'nei because of the hirar avera, but there's no problem with them. It's okay to not have the mechitzas. So this is the Rebbe Shittam.
More there? The whole answer?
It's a short, that's what they bring down there. There's a limud schus from the Levush. Some people, the Levush has a limud schus that people, they even say the bracha shasimcha b'mayni even though they don't have a proper mechitza. Because that since nowadays, anyways, people things aren't so tznistic, and anyways, men and women are mixed together a lot more. They're used to it, and therefore we're not worried about her avera.
Like nowadays, there's no more
the whole time. That's
the eighth Marmak. The seventh Marmak in Vush says the aim is hard in achshav v'zeh. Vush says people aren't careful. They say shasimcha b'ayme even though there's no mechitza. It says the efshim mishum the achshav mergolit. Maybe because nowadays it's a lot more accustomed to have women between the men. The ain kan huri avera kol kach, and therefore people used to you don't have avera so much. The dami and alan ki kakei chivra. They look like it's just like white birds, particular white ducks. They just have to be there. We take it Saloshin. I think it's Saloshin and Brachis. Sit hamiroim. They would sit by the mikvah.
The Kalle mit seinen Händen an seinen Kotten, an der Schulter. So hat gefragt, was die Schwure Avere, Tanne. Hat gesagt, Daniel long Kachivre, also wie Gänselang, white goes. White goes.
So, Miteich Reif Hagel Benin, we keep the Dashu. So once people got used to it, they got used to it. So there's no hirar avera.
We can compete with Rabbi Yochanan.
So look in the 8th Marmak, the Rebbe says.
You shouldn't say
and the 8th Marmak, the Rebbe says about the Levush. Masha Kasab Levush, the Damik Hakai Chivri, that they're just like, Bava Nishin Rabi and Rei Mashali Sata Ino Davar Kach. See what fails, doesn't it? That's way.
In restaurants,
yeah.
Praktische andere denken ik aan Mechitza. Bij mij een stuk heb ik gemaakt als Sheverblok. Ik had mijn flat verloren. Dus ik ben 2 Zimmer. Zwischen het Zimmer und da Pesach. Ohne Adres. Offen. Hat gestern weglegen am Mechitza, weg am Mechitza. Nicht nur sein nicht gewählt in ein Zimmer. Wir werden 2 Zimmer. Wir fahren zu mieten. Pesach und Ateles.
Aber wir kennen sein, wir kennen...
Und alle machen, alle Restaurants machen wirklich gut.
Darf man nicht sagen, das ist sicher beim Weinen? Darf man nicht sagen?
Nicht mit Dach, nicht mit Ton nicht.
Gar nicht.
Was kann ich sagen? 90% vom Schirm machen.
But behind these are shared the outside. I feel the Mechitza was the chilek.
So the shaylas what about the minhag is that and by the chasna after you finish benching the kala comes to the other side of the Mechitza and you say the Sheva brachas.
Hoe zijn de vorige gestanden? Niet ben je Mechitza. Ik ben dat in de t-shirt ben de vorige.
In the 10th Maramakin, okay, well, first in the 9th Maramakin, the Amshar Shlema, the Amshar Shlema, the Rashal, he was in the times of the Ramah, he already brings down the minhag of bringing the kala to the other side of the Mechitza for the Sheva brachas. He says, "Gam b'sefer chasidim kasav she'ein lavarich she'asimcha b'ma'inei heichen sheyesh v'anashim b'chider echad ki asatan mekatreg bein simcha l'fnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'vani ha'gever asher ra ani ami." He says, "Shekam k'lkun b'om." He says, so a lot of bad things come out when you don't have proper mechitza. But he says, "Mikol makim minhag yafeh," but however still is a good minhag. That kishem v'archim b'rachas chasanim. When you say the Shav brachas, the hainu kol zayin brachas shemilichim hakala b'makim hachasin. You bring the kala to the makim hachasin by the zayin brachas al ikar azivug v'chibur nisakana. Because the whole brachas was for the chibur and the zivug. In kain roi lavarich hashneim. Therefore, when you make the bracha, they should both be there. I the chayra. What about the yamshel shleimo? So
After the bracha,
no, during the Sheva brachas.
after the bench.
They bring the kala over for during the Sheva brachas.
Right, but first you bench, and then you shove afterwards. So the shukmeni is there before benching. So they bring it over at the middle now. They would bring the kala overside after benching. Why shevra? That's it.
Right. Yeah. And I what about the Hira Havira? So it's just for a short while. We're not worried. So we're not worried so much. So it's Pinchas Karitzer. Pinchas Karitzer.
Nee. Je moet beginnen met de Karitzer. Je moet niet beginnen met de Gerre Rebbe.
This is Pinchas Karitzer. From Vashanto. That's just another Pinchas. Also the Shayla is what about Simchas Torah? So the Pashtas did mechitzas by all Simchas, by Elchayim, by Simchas Torah, by on Purim Suda. It's Pash by all these things you need to have. You need to have it. So the Pinchas Karitzer says by Vashanto, you know, is makpid, or he was very makpid all year round, not to have even young girls come into the base medrash, but a Simchas Torah. Yeah. But on Simchas Torah, he was making. He says Admir is it? It's Admir. Afal pi shebechol hashana hekbin ma'oy bechol hashana bal tavina. I feel tinekes ketanis base medrash that even small girls shouldn't come in. Av the base hakofi so he makbid kal say he wasn't makbid. The Omar shekasav it says srafim indim imalei. The srafim are on top of him. Peter shehasrafim indim al mishmar. They're standing on watch. Kamay anshe chayil like soldiers. They're guarding us from on top. Peter's the built in nimel chas v'shalom Hashem Yisberach. We shouldn't do anything against the Ebershter. Va'ata kol hatevim kol hakash. Built in nimel. Yeah. On King and Ebershter. Hashem va'ata kol hatevim kol hakash v'kol hapsilas hakom nisra. All not good things got burnt off. Beish HaKedusha sheniskar v'nishtashem ve'ilum yisrael yenim ve'ilum hazeh, which came down. Ve'in koyach l'shum achshava zeh lipal chas v'shalom v'chol ish ha'mesamech atav simchas Torah. And a person is being mesamech with simchas Torah, all these things doesn't have a koyach to be sheilat on him.
Especially after kindness.
Man geht Shalash, geht Sufi, ja.
Maybe if I bring him by simchas Torah.
So David the Baal Shem Tov.
No back office,
Okay, so
Also in Danish.
Ja, man lernt mal sich getan.
Also ich denke,
right, yeah.
Ach, wie Menschen gut, also was ist mehr später in der Zeit, wie das Adele sicher größer, mit auf Pizza in mehr. Heim, wo was mit Paul mit den 200 Jahren zurück, jetzt auch nicht stark.
jetzt soll ich nehmen wir bei Mechitza bei Kaffes.
Was?
Bei Mechitza in Hetzro bei Kaffes, nehmen wir bei Mechitza.
Okay. Kommt meine Schule in Erz Israel. In Erz Israel mir lernen gedacht nicht lernen Dialog, nicht mit
And so this is all. Yeah. So this is. So this is Lagabe Mechitzas. So Lagabe, so even in places where you're in Mechiv to have Mechitza, but there's also Indian to be separate. So Shai, I wonder what are you Mechiv to have separate seating or not? So the Pesachim, right? They bring down that if people are doing things together, like if you're going to the street, you're going shopping in the store, you don't even have Mechitza. Shopping in the store, even though Shleima Kluger.
They machen das mit Freuen gehen on one side of the sidewalk, and men gehen on the other side.
So it started. The first one who did that was Shleima Kluger. Shleima Kluger, he was masaking that in his place that they should have two meat stores, one for the fry, one for the ladies, and one for the men. But whatever the Shivas Nizburu, he says that these things aren't al pi din. Every mokim, the Rav in that place needs to make a own takanos according to what it needs to be. But it's not al pi din. Al pi din, the people, as long as people aren't doing things together, they're not doing things together. Everyone's doing their own separate things. It's also okay. And they also talk about traffic going on buses, and same thing with going to libraries. People aren't doing a joint thing together. They're not. It's not like you're coming together for a su'udah or having an event together. Everyone's doing their own separate things. So, after dinner, there's no chiyuv to have a mechitza. Well, maybe the sheina zacht if you can make a mechitza. But after dinner,
the banks also. The men and one line in the fray at second one. The men is on the deposits and the fray is on the.
It works out well. It works out.
Du gehst in Monsi Boss. Monsi Boss.
Yeah.
Men is auf einer Seite, vorhin auf einer anderen Seite.
Yeah. So, it's nicht so schlecht.
Du gehst mit nicht, das kostet schon Schiff. A man geht zu Freund,
There's letters from the in the Sefer Yitzhak Ga'inim, someone asked a Shaila, what in the 11th Maramakim, someone asked about having a suda, and having a meal together with men and women. See, so the Ga'inim, right? They answered that it's also you have to be separate. 11th Maramakim says Ma'oshei Kanis b'nei Adam lebeis hamishta to come to Parei Legimnos Chasadim v'yichle besuda hanoshim im hanoshim u'ravim. So the answer Kacha Maisa. In Bisman Shanoshim Yeshvis Ka'achas, when they're sitting by themselves, if Hanoshim Bifniatim, they're sitting by themselves, Almanas, on condition with a Tanai, Shalay Mozgan Hanoshim Lenoshim, that they're not able to pour each other, they're separate now, they're not pouring drinks for each other, they're not passing food to each other, then it's okay. But if it's mixed eating, it's going to be also. It's also a person considered to be mixed by a meal. His sister, his aunt, his sister-in-law Almanas and Almanas in conditions they ishtei b'suuda shehim shamartim min haveda. Also you're right. So this is so by suudas or by events or fundraising things where everyone's coming together. So al pi din it has to be separate.
The wife's there. It saves her from the Avera. It doesn't say Hurry Avera. Hurry Avera comes out.
So
אתה יודע, היה פה לפני כמה שנים, היו עושים חתונות ביחד.